Welcome to the Hall Hotline. Honest conversations on faith, family, work, and the challenges that shape us. Because just as iron sharpens iron, life sharpens us. Stand firm, answer the call, live with purpose.
All right, so let's get started. Hello, good morning, party people. Coming to you live Monday, May 25th, Memorial Day. A little behind the scenes. It's actually only Sunday when we tape this, but you guys see behind the curtains, Wizard of Oz. So I've got my good friend and neighbor in the studio with me. Now, I am not Italian, so I'm not even going to butcher his last name. So Paul O. Now, Paul, how are you going to say that last name? Tell me to me in Italian.
It's a very, very common way of saying it. You probably ran into hundreds of people with that last name, so it's Oppedisano.
Oppedisano.
There you go. Perfect.
Oppedisano.
Sound like you're just off the boat, John.
There you go. Just fresh off the boat. I love it. I love it. So this week on the Hall Hotline, we're going to have Paul in studio all week. Again, big studio here, my upstairs game room / gym / basketball court, arcade center. You know, it doubles and triples as a lot of different things. But we got Paul in here today. So Paul's a good friend of mine, lives down the street. He and I have been trying to connect since I started this podcast. And this weekend, finally we were able to connect and the schedules align. So I was just telling Paul a minute ago, the first guest that I had kept turning and talking here, and she had a really quiet voice. And I kept saying, Christy, talk into the mic. Then my guest I had last week, Ryan's got a big booming voice, like a voice for radio. So I had to tell him the opposite. I'm like, don't talk into the mic. So today I think we're going to have probably the best of both worlds.
I think I'll be somewhere in the middle.
I think Paul's voice is going to carry, and I don't think it's going to boom everywhere like it did for Ryan. So,
well, Ryan's got a voice for radio. I've got a face for radio. So we've got a perfect mix going on here, buddy.
There you go. Yeah. Now, you did say before we started that you had to get your hair ready today.
I did. I parted it just right, so we're all set.
I love it.
Spent some time.
I love it. So what I wanted to ask Paul for to come on the thing is Paul and I have done a neighborhood Bible study. Paul and I are both in different men's group. We go to different churches. And we got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. So let's dive right in. So where do you want to start? You want to start talking about your awesome son, Christian? You want to talk about your beautiful wife, Kaylee? You want to talk about the Marines, Krav Maga? We got a lot of good stuff to unpack today.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to cover. So I'm not sure where you want to start. So I'll just kind of start.
Yeah, let's go for it.
A little bit about me. My name again is Paul Oppedisano. My parents were immigrants to the U.S. From Italy. They met when living in New York and Brooklyn. Had 4 kids, and I'm third youngest in a series of 4, and married to my beautiful wife, Kaylee, who I met when I was down here on vacation in Orlando area. And
now from New York, you lived up in New York.
Yeah, I was born in New York. I grew up in New Jersey, and went to college in New Jersey, and then went into the Marine Corps after that, and moved a bunch of places. Never went back. I mean, I've been back to New Jersey to visit, but never lived back in New Jersey. But I've lived in North Carolina, Texas, the Gulf of Florida here, Gulf Coast, a few different spots, Illinois, and then with Kaylee, I was living outside of D.C. It's the first place we were living in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and then we had the opportunity to move back here because she's from the Sanford, Lake Mary area, and I think we've been back here like 9 or 10 years now, and
nice.
Got our wonderful son Christian who wants to be a pastor, and
yeah,
I have 3 older children as well, so a little bit of everything, yeah.
So how old are your older kids? So Christian's 15.
All right, Christian's going to be 15 in July, so he's the baby.
Yep.
I've got Paul Jr., who's 30, and then Alyssa.
Wow,
yeah,
30-year-old.
30-year-old. So I'm going to be a grandpa. So I just found out.
Wow! Congratulations! Breaking news here on the Hall Hotline.
That's right. Yeah. So he was waiting until his wife was past her first trimester, and so they told us about a week or 2 ago. Now.
Congratulations.
Yes, his first grandson, or first grandchild.
You found out it's a boy, though. They already know.
Well, no, I said boy. I don't know if
you said grandson. Are you putting that out there? You're putting that out there in the atmosphere, right?
I don't know, but his wife said that she went to the doctor and she found out by mistake. So that's why I'm thinking that it's a boy, because really the only way you can find out by mistake is definitively, I think, at 3
So
months.
from what I've been told, so my sister is like legit scientist, DNA, all that crazy stuff. I don't have any of those genes, but I think she explained it to me one day where it was around week 11 or 12. Now she was making a female joke about it. She was like, women decide to become men around week 11 or 12, and they slough off the man stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how true that science is, that 11-week-old baby gets to decide. Of course, I'm kidding about that. But during that process, she said really a week 11 or 12 is when you can definitively answer. Before that, they would look similar, I guess.
Yeah, and then they start their male growth, so you can actually see that, and it's actually how I saw my son. He was doing his sonogram, his legs were open, so she's like, well, it's a boy.
Well, there you go, it's a boy.
So that's what I'm thinking with them, but I don't know for certain. So it could be a girl, could be a boy. Either way, we're excited.
I think week 20 is when the ultrasound, they say like that's the week 20 is when you can do the ultrasound to verify, or you can do the blood test. Yeah. Sometimes that's how they find on the blood test right away, right? It is.
Yeah.
So you're thinking grandson though?
Yeah, I don't know though. I'm just thinking he's in England, so the baby will be born over there, and then he's there for the next 3 years. He just moved there, and
now is he moved there with the military, or is he moved there with work?
No, he's in the Air Force. So yeah, technically both military and work.
There you go.
So they've been there probably about a month now.
So where you said in the UK? Where are they at?
He's in Cambridge.
Okay.
Yeah, so real old town, cool town.
Nice.
And, he likes books and all that stuff, and his wife loves that. So.
He likes books and all that crazy stuff.
The oldest library I think in Europe is
that's
in
cool.
Cambridge. So,
that's cool.
So he thought that was pretty cool, and now I've got a 27-year-old daughter. She's getting ready to be married next April. She's engaged, and she graduated. She's got a graduate degree in biology, so she's a scientist too.
So she's a scientist too.
Yeah.
So we got those science genes somewhere that I didn't inherit. I don't know about you.
No, I was a science major in college.
Oh, so you got the science genes. Okay.
Yeah, political science.
Oh, poli-sci.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. So not like blood and DNA and that kind of stuff.
No, senators and representatives and things like that. Yeah. But not blood, DNA and all that.
So she's 27, you said?
27, and I got a 24-year-old daughter who's currently up in Ohio right now.
Okay.
So kind of the gamut. 2 boys, bookending, and then the 2 girls in the middle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, you were married prior to Kaylee. That was with your first 3 or with your first wife?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then you and Kaylee just have Christian?
That's correct.
Okay. And your other 3, so Ohio, and where'd you say your 27-year-old daughter was?
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
And
then in Europe.
And then in Europe.
In Cambridge.
Yeah.
So with your probably a grandson, when he's born, or she, but probably a he, when he's born, how does that work in Europe? Since he's born on the Air Force Base, he's a U.S. citizen, he's a citizen of Europe, like there's different laws and stuff, right?
He's definitely a U.S. citizen. He's born on the Air Force Base, and of course his parents are U.S. citizens, but my son is unsure, but he may have British citizenship too.
Okay.
When he's there. We don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll find that out.
Yeah, so I know that it's different. So immigration laws, of course, here in the U.S., if you could be 2 people that are here not legally, and then you have a child that's a United States citizen.
Yes.
I believe in Europe, in UK specifically, that is not the way that it works. But I wonder if you're legally there and you're on the military base.
I think there might be
I don't know.
something
I
different.
wonder.
It's funny how, well, I want to turn this into political hour. But
well, you got a poli-science degree, so,
That's right. It's funny how, I guess they're anchor babies, when they're born here, but other countries don't allow that.
Yeah, not every country does. It's interesting. It's very interesting, especially we live in a very politically charged time in the world right now. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. One of the things I always think about is people say, oh, today's day and age is the most this or the most that. Well, it's always going to be the most. Yeah. Because people say, oh, it's the most technologically advanced. Well, 100 years from now, they're going to say that and they're going to be right.
Right.
And 1,000 years from now, they're going to look at us like the Stone Age.
Well, more people, more problems. Right?
Famous philosopher. That sounds like a Snoop Dogg or the famous Dr. Dre philosopher. I don't remember which rapper. I don't know.
I'm not big on my rap, but I know it was one of them. And
more money, more problems.
That's right.
Might have been Oh, it might have been P. Diddy that might have said that.
I take it back.
We don't talk about P. Diddy on.
That's right.
Here on the Hall Hotline, we are a daily devotional podcast.
We're really going down the rabbit hole here. But
First 2 minutes, we really kicked it off strong, didn't we?
yeah, I think what you were saying, though, about how things are more now, I think things were just as bad back in the day, but they're just, with the internet and everything so prevalent now, it's just more out there.
That's true.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, I know about things that are happening in other countries, and, you know, I would have never known that 30, 40 years ago. It would have been Dan Rather on the evening news, or it would have been the morning paper. And if it wasn't there, I probably didn't know about it.
Yeah, and who knows how much of it is really true, or how much we're being kind of led along.
And with AI out there now, I mean, you can see videos and all kinds of stuff. So I think that's why it's more important now, more than ever, to redefine your focus.
Absolutely.
And really, I mean, we've been joking around about the camera. So I've got the camera up there, and it was autofocus in, autofocus out. Every time I moved, it was adjusting and whatnot. And I think that's what we're doing. Our eyes are refocusing all around us all the time, and we are just adjusting what we're focusing on. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of us, I mean, look, I'm guilty of it too. It'll be nighttime at the dinner table, and I'll look over, and Tyler's watching something on his iPad while he's eating dinner, and Addison's on her phone, and Caitlin's in her room on her phone, and I'm sitting there on mine scrolling, and I'm like looking around, and I'm just going, man, what are we doing here? You know, we got to refocus on this.
I don't think everything is Satan, but there is a great distraction out there. And the one thing, doesn't matter 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, or 1,000 years from now, if people are still here, is we need to focus on Christ and the Bible. That's the only thing that never changes. It's the only truth. It's the absolute truth. It's the source of truth. So that when we're kind of out of focus, because I'm guilty of it too, we all are. I'm always looking at my phone, always death scrolling, watching dumb videos and things like that, and stuff that means nothing. And but the one
we watch some smart videos too, though.
Well, sometimes I don't know. Yeah. But, it just, the focus, if it comes down to the Word of God and the Bible, I think that's always, you can never go wrong with that. And that's your source of truth if you start there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to do some easy starter questions I had prepared for us here.
Uh-oh.
Favorite class in school?
History.
History?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that goes with political science. I get that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So you like a A&E nerd, like you watch General Patton war shows and stuff on the History Channel?
I watched that. If you saw my YouTube subscription, you'd be horrified in a nerd way. I watched a history chap and all kinds of just
horrified in a nerd way.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
So, but yeah, definitely history. I like political science too, but I'm more of a. I think history was my real love in school.
All right, in school then we'll stick on that theme. What's your least favorite class?
Absolutely math.
Oh, hate math, huh?
I was never good at math. Got a family full of people who love math, and
that just wasn't you.
No.
That's me with science. I got my sister, she got all those science genes. My dad didn't save any for when I come along.
Gotcha.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I love math, and Tyler loves math. Yeah. Okay. My middle child, Addie, hates it with a passion.
Yeah.
She's got 5 A's and then probably a D or F, and the D or F's in math. She hates math.
Well, funny story, when I graduated in 93, so I'm a little bit older than you, graduated college in 93, and when I went and I got the political science degree, I was looking through the catalog. I can write papers, I'm good at writing papers and stuff like that. Terrible at math. It only required one math class.
And you're like, all right, check.
I needed one math class.
Sign me up, people.
I needed 2 semesters of science. So I took biology 1 and 2, I think, and then of course, the electives and like 2 semesters of foreign language. But I wound up, it had 1 math class, and I was like, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good way as any to pick something, right?
Well, I was going into the Marine Corps, and I needed a degree to get commissioned in the Marine Corps. So you need any
because you went in as an officer rather than an enrollee?
So any bachelor's degree. So I was like, political science is where I'm going.
Nice. Yeah. All right. What's your favorite food, Mr. Italian?
Pizza.
That's the obvious answer, right?
I know, right? That's a terrible one. That and steak. So
well, that's a good answer too. So for 4 years between high school and first year of college, I worked at a pizzeria called Papa Joe's Pizzeria, It is not in Lake Mary anymore. Now it's a Bronx House Pizza or
is that
something.
the one you worked at right there?
Yeah, I worked in Lake Mary over by, it was like a Winn-Dixie at the time, but now it's a Publix and a Target over there. Yeah, no, so that was Papa Joe's. So the reason I bring that up, so Joe is Italian. Joe Giambroni, I think. I forget how to say his last name.
He lives in Heathrow.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, last I knew he did, yeah. Yeah, so Joe opened that restaurant. He had 3 or 4, one in Longwood, one on in Heathrow up in that Albertsons or Public Shopping Center now. I think that one's still there.
The one by the movie theater is there.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So authentic Italian, New York style pizza. Best pizza I ever had in my entire life. It's a true story. So I was probably 17, 18, like I said, senior, freshman. And he had a bunch of relatives came in. He would call it from the old country. They were all in from Italy. So he was showing off. Now, I never saw Joe in the restaurant. I mean, his son Mikey and then Tony was there and they ran the place. But Joe came in one day and he put the apron on and he's flipping the dough up and spinning the pizza. And I'm like, okay, this is how you do it. So he was showing off because grandma was in town and mom and dad and all that. And he made this, what do you call it? Like a pan, like a deep dish,
like
rectangle, Sicilian.
Sicilian pizza, yeah.
So he made a white Sicilian pizza. And I tell you, it was the absolute best thing I'd ever had in my time. I mean, the thing was huge. It was the size of the whole table, I feel like, looking back.
Nice.
And I mean, half of it was left over. But oh my, that was the best pizza I think I've had in my entire life. I don't remember what was on. I just remember it was fantastic.
Yeah, that was like my dream job when I was a kid. I grew up in New Jersey where you can't pump your own gas. So I pumped gas freshman and sophomore year of high school.
Well, you can't pump your own gas? Like, it's not allowed?
No, you got an attendant has to do it for you. So it's
like back in the 1900s, right?
Yeah, there's only like,
do they do that now?
I think, oh yeah, there's only like two states in the country and New Jersey is one of them. So
and you can't pump your own gas?
You're not supposed to. No. So I worked at Hess.
Talk about job security, huh?
Yeah, heck yeah. I pumped gas. That was a fun job for a 13, 14-year-old. And then I got the dream job when I was a junior, and I worked at the Italian restaurant, the pizza place. And I worked there junior, senior year. I worked there all through college. I would come home on the weekends and work there. And then there was a backlog of people going in the Marine Corps, so I waited 10 months to go on active duty. So I was waiting for 10 months for college graduate. I still worked at that same place. So I did 7 years in the pizza.
There you go. So you and I've got the 4-year and the 7-year. So we've got all that time between us.
The pizza connection.
There you go. I like it. All right. So other than random history shows on YouTube, what's your current obsession right now? A TV show, book, movie, podcast? Like, what do you do every day that you can't get enough of?
Oh gosh. Well, I've got my hobbies. I do martial arts. I do that almost every day. I read a lot of medieval history from Raymond Ibrahim, if you're familiar with him.
No, I'm not.
He's I think he's a Coptic Christian, but he's fluent in Arabic. He's fluent in obviously English and a few languages, and he's a PhD in history, and he's got a bunch of books out about the Crusades.
And what's his name?
Raymond Ibrahim.
Raymond Ibrahim.
Yeah. He wrote the Two Swords of Christ. He's written a bunch of books, but they're really good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I've read a couple of his books lately and watch him on YouTube.
Raymond Ibrahim. All right, everybody, go check it out.
Yeah,
Raymond Ibrahim.
I get no money, but that's my.
We'll tag him. Maybe he'll send you a signed copy of his book or something.
That would be pretty
my
sweet.
Tens of followers, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
So, what funny neighborhood stories do we have? Anything crazy happen in the hood to you?
Yeah, I'd say like the first time I really met you was at the Christmas party.
Okay.
Amy's Christmas party.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You came in with a hat and you had like, was it lights in your beard?
Yeah, I do have beard ornaments.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's nuts, man. And you were just like you are now, just like the friendliest, happiest guy in the world. And I'm like, that guy's cool, man. He's just like totally out there. He's a real, in a good way, not in a bad way.
I mean, look, for those of you on the audio, you can't see what I'm doing, but I got my Memorial Day outfit. I got my American bald eagle, my flag flying, lightning bolts coming down out of the eagle's eyes. For those of you watching the video stream, all 17 of you, you can see this.
That's right.
But for those on the audio, just, use my words to paint a picture.
Yeah.
American flag board shorts.
So just if you ever get the opportunity to meet John in real life, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And he's just a smiling guy, extremely authentic, and will show up to your Christmas party wearing beard ornaments.
Yes, yeah. So I do have the, with great beard power comes great beard responsibility.
That's right.
So the person I'm getting my hair cut, so obviously you don't have that issue, Paul, like we talked about.
I shaved it in the shower this morning.
That's what it was? Yeah. So this lady, Wendy, right? So so you mentioned you graduated college in 93. I graduated college in 03. I was 99 for high school.
Okay.
So I would have probably been 12 or 13. So like 1993. So around that time frame is when I went and randomly met a hair cutter, stylist, whatever the appropriate term is. So all you hair cutting people, I don't know what your terminology is. My apologies. But so I met her, and it was like a fantastic Sam's, just a random. I went in there, it was around the corner from my house on Longwood Lake Mary Road and Lake Mary Boulevard, and a fantastic Sam's, not even there anymore. But so she cut my hair, and I'm a creature of habit. So I went back to the same lady for a while. Then she moved shops to Great Clips. I followed her there.
Yeah.
Then when I went to Tallahassee for Florida State, sometimes I would go to this guy, Tony's barbershop up there. But then when I'd come back home for vacations, Wendy'd always cut my hair. And then I lost track of her. And then I found her again. I was at Great Clips. I'm like, where is Wendy? And one of the ladies like, oh, Wendy? Oh, yeah, she's over at so-and-so now. And I'm like, okay. And you need a haircut? Nope, driving over there.
That's it.
And so I left and went over there and found her again. And then now she's at one other place, Van's Touch Salon. Shout out, Van's Touch Salon in Lake Mary and over on Crystal Lake Boulevard. So she's been there for a hot minute now. She told me the other day that she is going to retire in about 2 more years. So I'm like, now I've got anxiety. The same lady's been cutting my hair for 3 decades, y'all. 3+ decades. And now I got to find somewhere else.
Does she cut Tyler's hair too?
She does. Yeah. So now she cuts my hair, Tyler's hair, my wife's hair, both my girls' hair. She cuts my in-laws' hair. She cuts Jim and Gio down the street, my neighbor / aunt and uncle's hair. And I think she cuts Courtney's 10 people. So that one connection, now she has 10 different people in our lives' haircut that she cuts. So I told her, I said, when you retire, we're going to just put a chair for haircutting in my garage. And one weekend a month, you come over and cut all 10 hairs and make your money.
That's like that word of mouth advertising, though. She did a good job for you, and then you spread it to your whole family. And it's a great form of advertising. But you need to hook up after she's retired. You need to go find Tony, but that's probably a little bit of a far ride.
Tony in Tallahassee. Yeah. He's probably retired by now too. His son was doing it. Gosh, that was 20+ years. I graduated college 23 years ago.
Okay.
That's just crazy.
Wow.
It's and this is the season for graduations and everything right now. And I know because we just got so many, gift cards and for all the people that we know that have seniors that are graduating. And I look at these, I'm like, I've known these kids for 5 years, 10 years. I've seen them growing up.
26 years ago?
I graduated high school 27, college 23.
Okay, so I graduated college 33 years ago.
Yeah, so you got 10 years on me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my daughter is going to be a junior. My other daughter is going to be a freshman. And like Christy, I used to work with, and we still do everything in the neighborhood together.
Yep.
Her son just graduated high school this year. So it's like, wow. Seeing all these kids that I've known since they were yay big, and now they're all like Barrett in our neighborhood. So one of the kids in our neighborhood, Barrett Schultz, you're going to recognize that name in the future. That kid's going pro. I can tell you, if there's anybody that's going to be the NFL. So you're familiar with his national championship high school story from Lake Mary or no?
No, was he the kid?
He's the one that caught it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize he lived in here.
Yeah, so Andy and Kelly live in here.
Yeah.
Andy runs, works at TES Electric. So if you guys need a good electrician here in DeBerry, TES Electric, call Andy.
They came out and did good work.
They did your work. Your house was struck by lightning.
It was.
And you had to get the electric stuff redone and everything.
Yeah, everything that was...
like your house legit, like there was a hole in your roof struck by lightning.
There was a hole about this big in the roof, and it destroyed some of the boards in the attic and blew the panels off the wall for the alarm system. It fried the alarm system.
Wow. I remember that. Do you remember I was outside in the rain and saw that lightning strike?
Yeah.
Oh, you got the dogs in the background. Live audio, people. That's what you get with live radio.
There you go. Yeah.
But no, I was taking the trash out in a rainstorm because my wife, it just can't wait. It has to be done right now.
That's right.
And so lightning struck. I mean, you live 100, 150 feet from me at most.
Yeah.
And I saw the light, scared the bejesus out of me. I can only imagine. Y'all were home, right?
We were watching TV, sitting on the couch. The dog literally just jumped like 3 feet in the air. The whole house flashed. I thought something blew up in the garage. That's what it sounded like. It was so loud. My ears were ringing. And we're lucky the house didn't catch on fire. That's the big thing.
That's amazing for a direct lightning strike. That's all. I say all. You guys had to do a whole bunch of work, but
it destroyed a few things. So the dishwasher, the outside pool lighting, like I said, the alarm. Probably a few other things I'm not quite remembering, but yeah. But for a direct strike, we got out really lucky.
Wow,
and it destroyed our roof. We had to get our roof.
Yeah, you had to get the roof redone.
Yeah.
Man, that's oof. So, all right. Anyways, back to the story. So Andy and Kelly, they have two boys, Andrew and Andreas Jr., Dre, and that's the older son. Barrett's the younger son. Now, Andy, I don't know if you know, but he was, I believe, like a decathlete. He was a college athlete up in Wisconsin. And so his boys are just always athletic. So I moved in here in this neighborhood in 2015. So that would have been 11 years ago. So I've seen Barrett grow up from, 5 years old or 6 or whatever so Barrett's 6'6" now. He's 3 inches taller than Andy.
Wow.
And, 6'6". When he gets to college, they're going to put some meat on him because he weighs all of 100 pounds probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But so I have seen them when Andy was coaching flag football out in their yard, 5, 6, 7 years old, doing passing drills. And he would have them turned around and he would throw the ball. And when it's in midair, he would say, turn. And they would have to find it in midair, turn, catch it, high point it. And I would watch these kids just do drill after drill after drill. And I'm like, man, those kids are good.
Yeah.
And now, so he went to Lake Mary. So our neighborhood, of course, is zoned for a different high school.
Yeah.
He transferred his senior year because the quarterback at Lake Mary, this kid Noah, I think Grubbs, is going to Notre Dame. So you've got college level talent at the high school quarterback. And Barrett saw this opportunity to go to this school that had a great program and has this, generational athletic talent with an arm. And luckily for Barrett, it ended up being the right decision because he got something like 9 or 10 different college scholarships.
Where's he going? Did he decide yet?
It's one of the FIU or FAU in South Florida. I can never remember which one's which, but I want to say FIU. And if they're listening, Andy or Kelly can correct me. But so anyways, Lake Mary. So that's my alma mater. So I went to Lake Mary High School.
Okay. And that's where my wife Kaylee graduated too.
Yeah. What year did she graduate?
95.
Okay. So she was there. She graduated the year before I went there. I was there in 96 to 99.
Okay.
So my senior year, undefeated, you didn't lose any games. We were the opposite of that. We were defeated. We didn't win any games.
Wow.
So much different now. They, they have some different players in and quarterback. And so Barrett's a wide receiver. So for those of you guys that do not know this, go ahead and Google this and look up the 2026 Lake Mary High School state championship football game. It was played down in the stadium where Barrett is going to school this year, for college. It was played in that stadium, the championship. And so it's kind of his new home turf, right? They were down like 2 or 3 scores, came back. It was 27-21, pouring down rain. Can't even hardly see. You got the person with the TV video cameras like wiping off the screen, one of those kind of how much it was raining.
Yeah.
And last second play, Hail Mary, I don't know, 40 yards out, whatever it was. And Noah takes the pass, or takes the snap, scrambles to the right, just heaves it up, okay? Barrett, 2 guys on him, goes up, catches it, comes down. He's about 2-3 yards short of the end zone. He's about to get tackled. He underhand pitches it or tosses it to his running back, or kind of takes it out of his hands. And his running back takes the ball and runs and gets tackled into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown.
Wow.
They kick the extra point. They win 28-27. So, I mean, like, that's one of those on ESPN top 10 fairy tale stories.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And then Lake Mary, didn't their baseball team do really well too? And then the Little League went to the Little League World
Little
Series.
League World Series.
And then I think the girls did too. But
girls did something as well. I think the girls volleyball team won the state championship or something.
They're doing something right over there with sports.
Oh, I tell you, man. We moved out. It's that Seminole County money. We're in Volusia County. We don't got that Seminole County kind of money.
West Volusia's got to represent.
Yeah, we got to step our games up, people. All right. All right, so let's transition back to the Marines. So one of the things that in Scripture that's very important is discipline. Mm-hmm. And I've actually got a book I'm reading right now about spiritual discipline. So what did you learn about discipline and motivation that you can tell us from the Marines?
Well, and I think it's pretty common. Everybody hears this. Everybody has motivation, especially right away when you find something new and you want to get it done. And, everybody's motivated at first. But motivation kind of, it goes away really quick, especially at 5 a.m, second, third day into training or working out. Or when things get tough, motivation seems to can disappear pretty easy. But,
so you can't have motivation continually without the discipline.
Yeah, and discipline, continued discipline. Discipline, that's just doing the right thing all the time.
Sorry, my
Nice.
AC kicks in.
There
You
you
don't
go.
want that audio background in this high-quality studio to have the AC kicking in.
Well, maybe you do when I'm talking. I don't know. I can kind of muffle over what I'm saying a little bit. But yeah, no, I just think that, discipline is doing the right thing. That's also integrity, right? Doing the right thing all the time, even when you don't want to. And discipline is you have a goal, and no matter what, you're going to get there. And these are the steps you have to do. So it doesn't matter. Your feelings don't matter at that point, whether you're motivated to do it or not. Hey, this is the goal, and this is what I need to do to get there. So it becomes more of a, kind of like a checklist. Kind of like I would imagine with
almost a routine.
Yeah, with work, and same thing with I'm sure in real estate, everything. There's days you just don't feel like doing it, but there's certain steps you got to do to be successful.
I love real estate. I never feel that way.
That's right.
I never have any pain in the backside customers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Never happens. I don't know what you're talking about,
The
Paul.
service industry is a wonderful place, and dealing with clients is just absolutely all the time great.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I had an old broker one time, and he said, if it wasn't for the customers, man, we'd have the best job in the world.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man. So after the Marines, so you were telling me the other day that you have some injuries, and that was disabled. That's how you, with the Marine. Tell me how that process works.
So I know
you got the Wounded Warrior shirt on.
I'm sporting my Wounded Warrior shirt, and this side. There we go. And so I was technically, I know you put on Facebook that I was retired from the Marine Corps. I am not retired from the Marine Corps, but just in case there's any people out there, no stolen valor here. I was medically separated from the Marine Corps. I did 13 years active duty, and then was non-deployable anymore, meaning I couldn't be deployed overseas.
Because of your hair?
Because of my hair. No, the hair is
that was a good thing.
That was the only thing that was good. I was like, hey, his haircut's still good to go. But yeah, I mean, I had multiple injuries, multiple operations, and I just couldn't do the physical things that were required of a Marine anymore. So, it was time to go off and do something else. And I've had a varied career, So after college, I went in the Marine Corps, did my initial tour. I was a transportation logistics officer. I wound up getting out. I went into federal law enforcement for about 10 years. And then really...
Now, federal law enforcement different from local police.
That's correct. So I was... I did
military police, MP?
No, I did 2 years as U.S. Park Police in D.C. So they do all the monuments, all the... any place there's a patch of grass in DC, we joke it's a federal park. So we had a great.
Some weeds pop up on the cracks.
Yeah.
That's federal land.
We were right in front of the World Bank, so every time they had a demonstration, we were like right in the center, and then DC police were on either side of us. Things like that. So we had we had a huge department, like 650 officers at the time. So it's a great little known secret in the federal government. If you want to become a police officer, that's a great job to have.
Federal police. Okay.
Yeah. So they have aviation units, motors units, SWAT, narcotics vice units, all kinds of good stuff, and very liberal at the time, chase policy. So you could, and I did that for 2 years. And then shortly after September 11th, the air marshals were growing.
Were you still in New York on 9/11, or were you in DC, or where were you at?
I was in DC. I just got done working the midnight shift, so I was actually asleep when the first building was hit. My ex-wife woke me up and said, "Hey, I think you need to come look at the TV." And then the second building was hit. I'm like, "Okay, so this is definitely
not coincidence."
Not coincidence. So I'm like, I got to go to work. I tried calling into work, and the lines were busy. And then I wound up getting in the car and driving into DC. I'd lived out in Manassas, Virginia at the time, which is like, I guess 30 miles west.
Half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, DC. And it was bumper to bumper traffic when I hit Arlington. So I jumped on the shoulder and I was driving down, and Arlington cop pulled up, and he had a few choice words for me, and I showed him my badge and told him I was trying to get to DC. And so him and another cop boxed me in and had their lights and sirens and escorted me to 110, which is by the Pentagon, and then you take that into DC. So that was pretty cool.
So then the Pentagon got hit. How close were you to that?
I drove right in front of the Pentagon when it was on fire, and
after the plane had already gone down.
Yeah, and then the F-16, Air Force F-16, flew right over. He was super low, and it just looked surreal because the flames had really sparked up. And
so you could see the Pentagon from the highway, and you could see the fire.
I could see the fire, yeah. Wow. And there was a military jet flying right over. And then I got into work, and there were just people scrambling everywhere. So I said, "Hey, where do you need me?" And just wound up going to a post. I wound up staying there, worked my midnight shift. So I was there almost 24 hours. But it was just a lot of craziness. We were expecting a lot of rumors. We were expecting, they said there's vans of people coming to do a ground attack on the White House. So we set up a perimeter around the White House. So it was us. Because Park Police has Lafayette Park, which is right on outside.
Yeah.
So that's our jurisdiction, where the blocked off road is. We're out there. That's our road. And then Lafayette Park. So we set up a perimeter with Secret Service, and we were waiting for this ground attack to come. And
I can only imagine the rumor mill that just starts flying.
Oh,
because you got to treat everything as legit.
Yeah.
You can't take something that you hear as internet chatter and
We had so many reports of one night a bomb. There was a suspicious package on the 14th Street Bridge. All kinds of just reports like that. And then, but that died down. That died down pretty quick. And then we were on 12-hour shifts 7 days a week for a few months, and we went down to 6, and we went down to 5-day week. But it was definitely an interesting time, and I had thought about going back in the Marine Corps, and I had always thought about going back in the Marine Corps. I applied to go back in the Marine Corps and got accepted, and then wound up not doing it. And then the Air Marshals were growing like crazy, so wound up getting hired with the Air Marshals. So I was Park Police for 2 years, got hired with the Air Marshals in 2002, and then I was an Air Marshal for about 6 years before I went on active duty, and then about 8 years before I totally left the Air Marshal service.
So is the Air Marshals considered more of like the military police part, or is that actual, like, are you active duty in the Air Marshals? How does that work?
No, you're federal law enforcement.
Federal law enforcement.
Yeah,
okay.
So you have a gun and badge. You're an 1801. Which is just a designation that they give you.
Okay.
You're an 1801 Federal Air Marshal. You have law enforcement ability, law enforcement powers, and you fly armed, basically on planes, international and domestic, and just counterterrorism type stuff.
So you did. So were you? So you hear this? So it's true. Like your flights may have an undercover airline marshal on them. Like that, was that, you ever did that? You were the undercover guy on the flight?
Yeah, we never wore uniforms. We were always in plain clothes, and they weren't supposed to know who we were. I mean, the flight crew did, and it could be different now. I mean, I got out so long ago, but the flight crew would know who we are, but other than that, the passengers didn't know who we were.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You ever see anything crazy on a flight?
No.
Never took anybody down?
Other than a few drunks, nothing.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I did have there was a lady that we worked with, and some guy was trying to chat her up. And he said, "Hey, I'm not supposed to tell you, but I'm the air marshal on the flight."
And she was the air marshal?
And she was.
And she's like, really? Me too?
No,
what are the odds?
She just let him talk and talk. And then when the plane was deboarding, she showed him her badge. And she said, "Hey, I need to talk to you in the jetway." And the guy's eyes got really big. And told him it was a crime to impersonate a federal officer, and just kind of read him the riot act.
He was sweating bullets. Oh, my. He's trying to pick up here's the keys to my Lamborghini, honey. And he's trying to pick her up.
What are the odds, right? I mean, that's just crazy.
Oh, that's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So you never got to see anything on an airline like that?
No,
though?
just some drunks, just some people acting stupid, but nothing crazy. No. Mm-mm.
So I heard a conspiracy theory about the Pentagon and the 9/11 attacks. And I looked into it. There's a whole bunch of people that believed online the Pentagon was a missile and it wasn't an airplane. And it was and there's a whole rabbit hole worth of stuff on this.
There's also Building 7 in New York, a whole rabbit hole why that collapsed and why did the buildings come straight. I don't know. I saw a few of those things. I heard about them. I honestly don't know. I hope it's not true.
Yeah. Some of these things, you read them and you're like, okay, this makes a lot of sense the way you read that, but also so does reading a science fiction book. You can get drawn into the story, right?
Yeah. And there seems like there's always been, not always been, but there's been a lot of ways where we've been, and I'm not saying for the audience out there of millions watching, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but we've been drawn into wars for different reasons and under false flag type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to believe that. I don't believe that, but I hope it's not true.
Yeah, no, but they're definitely, you see a lot of conspiracy things that end up coming true. Mm-hmm. And they're not so much conspiracy. But, that doesn't make all of them have credit. You can't give credence to them all,
Right.
Oh, man. So, after that, when did you get into Krav Maga and start? Because you've trained instruction on Krav Maga, right?
Yeah, I've been interested in martial arts my whole life. So Karate Kid was big back in 1984, 85. When I started karate in New Jersey. I found a karate school. It just happened to be one that was closest to my house. So didn't know the style, didn't know what it was. Turned out to be a Japanese American form of Goju-ryu, which is originally an Okinawan style.
Okay.
Just fell in love with it in high school. And
that's like Mr. Miyagi stuff right there.
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi is actually he's the founder of Goju-ryu. So for the movie The Karate Kid, they kind of used a real character.
Really?
His name, yeah. So Miyagi Sensei he's the one who founded Goju-ryu in Okinawa.
So the actor, of course, was not Miyagi. I forget the actor's name.
Right, Pat Morita.
That's what his name was. So, but the character he was modeled after was a true real life person in that sense that there was a Mr. Miyagi and he did karate.
Yeah, his name is Chogun Miyagi or Miyagi Sensei, and he's from Okinawa.
Guys, we learn something new on the Hall Hotline every day, don't we?
And some of the karate
blows your mind. Karate Kid, based off a true story.
Yeah, and some of the forms he was doing, we call it Seiunchin, and he was doing Seiunchin in the movie, and that's an actual Goju-ryu.
Okay, that's really cool. I had no idea. I never knew that.
And then the up and down stuff that he was doing, that's in
the paintbrush.
Yeah,
the wax on, wax off.
I'm going old school here, but that's in Tenshaw. So I have to think about that for a second. But yeah.
Nice.
So I fell in love with it. Always been involved. I'm an accident waiting to happen. So I've had a lot of injuries through no fault of anyone else but my own. So
through no fault but my own.
That's
I like
right.
it.
That's right. So I did some martial arts in the Marine Corps, in the Air Marshals. I worked out with different people. I've done various things. Got involved with Ishinryu, which is another traditional Okinawan style, which comes from Goju-ryu and Shorin-ryu, which means nothing to anybody who doesn't care about any of that. But it's an Okinawan style, and so I train that now. Those are more classical arts where I feel like as I get older, I can continue to do them. I can continue to do the forms, even with, I've had multiple hip replacements and spine fusion and injured knees and stuff. I can still do the forms, and I still like the the weapons forms of it and things like that. But,
So not as much hand-to-hand combat, more of style training and
Right.
form training. And
yeah, now there are people who do like full contact karate and stuff like that. I do not. Let's put that out there. But yeah, so that's good. But I also like the more physical.
I don't either, if
Yeah.
you were wondering.
Yeah. So there's the more physical stuff. I discovered Krav Maga actually before going to Iraq in 2007. I was looking at it online. I've been looking at it online for a long time. And Krav means contact combat in Hebrew. And Krav is what the Israeli Defense Force uses.
Yeah, it's IDF created it, right?
Yeah, for their self-defense. The gentleman, Emi Lichtenfeld, created Krav Maga, and he was in Europe during a time of World War II where the Jews were getting persecuted, and he was a gymnast and a boxer and a wrestler, and he created something very simple that he could teach people. It's quick to learn. So Krav Maga doesn't have a lot of
fancy crane kicks like in Karate Kid.
Yeah, nothing cool like that. But what Krav Maga has is it's very effective. It's easy to learn, and it's gross motor skills. So when you're ever stressed or overloaded, fine motor skills are the first thing to degrade. So it uses just gross motor skills like hammer fist, hitting people like this, and straight punches and things like that. And I try to train a little bit of jiu-jitsu now, which I love. It's a great art. I'm physically limited in a little bit of that, and then my son totally emasculates me too when we do jiu-jitsu together. So
Yeah, and he does jiu-jitsu.
oh yeah, he loves jiu-jitsu and wrestling.
Yeah, Christian's like a friggin' hoss when it comes to that.
Yeah, he'll be 15, I think, like we said earlier, in July. He's been training for about 3 years, but he literally lives there. He goes now. It's summertime for him, so he goes at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and then he'll go at night and take 3 classes at night while he's there. So
Wow.
And he would do it every single day other than church on Wednesdays and Sundays. But if he could, he'd be there. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's a little of my martial arts background. I'm just a nerd, I like swords and swords and sticks and
All the like you pointed out in my little studio here, I've got the little punching bag area for the workout section, and my son Tyler is a orange belt with white stripe or yellow stripe. He's on his 5th or 6th belt right now. Yeah. And so he's got some karate stuff up here, and Paul pointed out, he's like, oh, is that what'd you call it?
It's a boken, a wooden sword. So.
I was like, sure, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, so me and how old's Tyler?
Tyler is 7.
Yeah, so me and the 7-year-olds get along great. We're both probably watching Ninja Turtles and things like that. But, yeah.
Oh, Ninja Turtles, I should show you. I've got an original collection, all the original characters, and I call them the offense, the good guys and the bad guys. And I had to they didn't sell all of the characters in all the stores. Mm-hmm. And I had to get April O'Neil from Ohio for my family up there when I was up there. And I was like, I can't find April in Florida. Finished my set. April O'Neil completed the set.
I have from 1985, the original, it was a 4-series comic book set of those. And I've got them all except my number 1 is a 2nd edition. So it's not nearly as valuable as the number 1 first edition. But so I have them all from the 80s, I guess.
I'll show you that. We'll have to show you that. That's cool. I've got my wall right here. I'm going to finish in the podcast studio. I'm going to put a shelf up here with some of so I've got all of the original He-Man collection toys, and I'm going to have some He-Man guys fighting some Ninja Turtle guys. It's going to be good. I've got that blank wall right there. That's my spot for it. Just procrastinating.
I think they're making a movie now that just came out, right? Or it's coming
He-Man?
out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah. It looks awesome.
I'm 10 years older than you, so He-Man was a little bit after me, but I've got a younger brother, and he was really big into He-Man.
Yep.
So,
oh, yeah, no, He-Man's going to be awesome. So
he had all that stuff. He should have kept it. It's probably worth something now.
Yeah, I think my dad kept in boxes. I have boxes of them in his garage for just decades. And then finally, when I got a house after college, he was like, hey, here's all your crap.
Come take it. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, you've got all these He-Man toys.
My mom did that with my comics and baseball cards. She kept them all. So.
And my kids, so I made the mistake when my girls were younger, and I'm like, oh, how cool is it going to be? They're going to play with all of my toys. No, those kids, they wanted to trash my my collectibles. They're not toys. They're collectible action figures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, does not go in your mouth. No, we're done here.
There's something funny. On a side note, on 434 near Ronald Reagan, it used to say comics and guns. And I was like, only in Florida. So it's like when I just moved here, I remember taking a picture of it and sending it to my brother in New Jersey. I'm like, check this out.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, no, exactly where that's at.
Yeah.
There's a comic book store right over there on 434, and 1792.
Yeah, but he used to say comics, and there must have been a gun shop right
there. Was
comics, guns. And I was like, that's cool.
Yep. No, I've bought plenty of comic stuff back in the day there. The Superman collection and everything.
Yeah.
That's too good.
So that's a little bit about my nerd background. My
so what do you do now?
I work for a company called N2 Publishing, and what they do is they do franchises. They create magazines for high-end neighborhoods. So for people who are familiar with our area, like Heathrow has their own private publication. My wife owns that one, and it goes to them every month, and it's all about the residents that are there, that live there. So we do that. My wife is she has a W-2 job with the company as well, so she's the manager of Florida. Now our territory just expanded out to Arkansas and all the way out towards Texas to Louisiana. And then I'm an onboarding coordinator with them as well. So
nice.
I do interviewing, or I haven't done interviewing lately, but I still do a lot of interviewing for the company, and I do a lot of onboarding.
Nice.
For them. So a little bit of both. So we have the private business side or the franchise side, and then we work for the company as well.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice little cool little thing right there.
Yeah, it's a very Christian-based company. The founders, Dwayne and Earl, are amazing people. They are what you see is what you get, and it's always Christ first.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So one of the things that I always like to talk about with people, obviously, if we're in our society where over 50% of more marriages end in divorce, people get remarried. So
sorry, I got to adjust.
You got to adjust.
I know. John,
don't worry.
John's a handsome man here, but I'm not trying to get close to him. I'm just trying to adjust because I got a little bit jacked up back.
No, you just you listed all the military stuff, so you're allowed to get comfortable, sir. Especially on Memorial Day, my friend.
All right, Memorial Day, we're gonna chill.
So, how do you know when it's time? I guess I'm trying to ask here. Obviously, coming from a divorce, having 3 kids, when were you ready to get back in there? Or did you meet Kaylee and you weren't looking? What's that story?
I was dating and looking around, but I wasn't serious with anybody. And I really wasn't. I was looking for somebody, but yet I was really lonely. I was probably the most lonely I've been in my life. Let me get that closer.
Yeah, we'll get that. Yeah, I didn't want it to cover your. You adjusted now, and it was covering your beautiful face.
Oh yeah, like I said, a face for radio. So I was dating. I wasn't really doing nothing serious, and still hurting a little bit from my divorce, and doing a lot of praying and a lot of. Well, it was kind of dual role. It was kind of a lot of praying and a lot of things I shouldn't be doing, a lot of drinking and a lot of just, what have you. And then I was back from Iraq, and I was down here in Orlando visiting a good friend of mine. I had some leave to burn and met Kaylee one night, and we were out and wound up talking to her and didn't think there was anything going to come of it. I mean, she's in Orlando. I'm divorced with 3 kids up in this crazy Marine living in his apartment up in Virginia, and but then there was something so special about her. And when what I really loved about Kaylee right away was the conversations that we had. I mean, obviously she's very beautiful. I find her extremely attractive, but it was just the conversations that we had. And then she challenged me. She asked me if I had a relationship with Christ. I was raised Catholic. I was going to church even when I was deployed. I was doing those things, but that question bothered me, and it annoyed me at first. But it was challenging too. So I like the challenge, and just made me question why I believe what I believe, and started reading the Bible and getting more into the Bible. And then just I knew right away from when I met Kaylee on, I was done dating. I was done. Drinking myself into oblivion. And I felt a sense of peace.
Calmness, right?
Yeah, absolutely, a sense of calmness. Like I felt like, and things are not easy, especially in the beginning, and I've got a very contentious relationship with my ex-wife, 3 young kids, so all that in the mix made it harder too. But, and then just in our 30s, 2 people getting together and getting to know each other, so there were those challenges. But yeah, I just, it was different than any other woman, anybody that I've ever met. And I feel like it was a God ordained thing. He put her in my life, and she challenged me, and she definitely was a challenge. So yeah, but yeah, it was just I don't know.
Don't worry, we'll cut that part out where you say Kaylee is a challenge.
Kaylee is not a challenge. Don't put that in there.
That's a minute marker. We'll go ahead and cut that note out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do that.
I like to say I'm going to fix all this in post editing, but I don't do any post editing.
It's a high production show, so
it is. It's a high. We hit go.
Yep.
And then it goes.
Yeah.
And who knows where it's going to take us.
That's right. So it's kind of weird talking about myself a little bit, honestly. But
it is a lot of people. It is weird to be interviewed and talk about yourself like that. It really is.
Yeah. So
I get to do it on this side of the mic though, so I'm okay.
That's right. So I don't know if I'm rambling or not saying enough, honestly. But I think that it was just something special. It was something God ordained. Nothing's easy. It was tough go at first. There were a lot of there was physical barriers, but living in Virginia and Florida, there were emotional barriers because of past situations that I was in, that she was in, and and then just getting to know each other and those type of things. But
now you're here 15, 20 years later. How long have you been married?
We've been married 17 years in this month. So, and then yes, we've been married 17 years. Christian's going to be almost 15 years old. So just one blessing after another. I think God gives you hard times. Not to. I don't believe that God gives us things that we can't handle. Like when people say, "Oh, God wouldn't give you something you couldn't handle." I think God gives you things that you absolutely can't handle, so you have to rely on Him.
That's the key right there.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've talked about before. And somebody a lot smarter than me said it, and I like to, take smart stuff and write it down, and then pretend it's my own sometimes.
Yeah, I don't have an original thought. I'm pretty certain of that. But yes, I mean we've been through good times, rough times, financial times, heartbreak, family death,
house lightning strikes,
golden retrievers, things like that. So it's like all kinds of good stuff. Our son being born, and it's just all those things that everybody goes through.
Yeah,
are what makes a life.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. So I know we're reaching our hour point, and he's going to stick around. We're going to record some more episodes for the week. Before we do that, though, you've mentioned your son a lot, and he's a pretty special kid. He's going to be actually on my podcast for next week. So he goes to a Christian school, a private school,
yep.
And he recently prepared and delivered his first sermon, right?
Yeah, he said, "Dad, I want to do this." And me and Kelly were both like, okay. And he said, "No." He said, "I prayed on it, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to ask the teacher." And I said, "What if they say no?" He said, "That's fine, but they're not going to say no." And
he's like, "I'm going to do some jujitsu on him if they do."
No, I think he just, yeah, right. But I think he just felt that he was meant to do it, and he asked, and they were very gracious about it and took a chance letting this kid do it, and he did it, and we're just so proud of him.
That's awesome. So we'll get to hear that. So he's going to record his sermon for us. So make sure you guys listen next week. You'll get to hear that on Monday and Tuesday next week. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and wrap things up. But before we do, we're going to do a little rapid fire questions.
Uh-oh.
All right. So that's how we're going to close. Something we came up with for this. All right. Rapid fire.
Real quick, I looked at those because John, all transparency, gave me the notes. I started looking at them, and then I didn't want to be inauthentic, so I didn't read them.
Okay.
I stopped.
So you saw the rapid fire. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Coffee, tea, or Monster energy drinks?
Coffee all the way, every day.
How do you drink your coffee?
Black cream and sugar.
All right. Favorite movie?
I'll say Excalibur. I'm a nerd.
Excalibur. Oh, interesting.
1981, John Borman. Yeah, great movie.
Interesting. Favorite military movie?
Just a few that I like. I like Black Hawk Down. And
Yeah?
I like the series Band of Brothers, and of course I like the Pacific. The series
Nice.
The Pacific, yeah.
Favorite Bible verse?
Isaiah, is it 4:6-8? Then I heard the Lord say, "Who will go?"
Isaiah 6, verse 8, I think, or it might be 4, 6, 8.
I think it's
Here
4.
I am, Lord, send me.
Here I am. Here am I. Send me. Yeah.
Yeah, here am I, send me. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Hardest Krav Maga move you had to learn?
Fortitude. They're, like I said, a lot of the moves are just basic, but just not giving it.
Okay.
Yeah.
One survival item that you would take with you on a deserted island?
My toothbrush.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
You're going to say, deserted island, who's smelling your breath, bro?
My cig.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. One, our funniest dad moment.
I should have looked at these before. Let's save that one for Christian.
All right. Favorite meal? You said pizza earlier.
Pizza or steak?
There you go. What would teenage Paul think about adult Paul?
I think he'd be happy with what he saw.
Man, I got a hot wife.
Yeah, I'd be like, dang, this goofball got a hot wife for it. She said yes when no one even called me back in high school. But yeah, no, I think he'd say that, and I think conversely, I would tell him don't sweat everything. It's going to turn out okay.
Last question: if you could give one piece of advice to the young men listening, what would it be?
Learn how to be men.
I like that.
Be a good man, biblical man.
Stand firm and act like men.
Stand firm in the faith. Yep.
I love it. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate it. Paul, thank you for joining us today. So that was our couch conversation with Paul Oppedisano. What did you say?
Oppedisano.
Oppedisano.
Any way you want to pronounce it, it's fine.
It's
a very, very Irish name.
My last name is Hall.
Yeah.
Like, it's easier to say, but people still say Hill.
Is it English?
So my family tree, did one of those Ancestry.com and all that stuff. So we've got English, Irish, Pennsylvanian Dutch. I don't even know what that is. And then on my dad's side, I'm straight German.
Well, Pennsylvania Dutch, I think, is German of descent. But back in the day, they didn't understand what they were saying, so they called it Dutch. But it's really, I could be wrong.
You probably aren't. You know more about my family history than I do, apparently.
I think the Pennsylvania Dutch were really German descendants, and the people at the time didn't know what language they were speaking, so they called them Pennsylvania Dutch.
All right. Well, that's what I am.
It's a good story if it's not true.
Hey, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, stick around, guys. We're going to take a break, come back on Tuesday, and we've got a couple of nice episodes planned out. Well, I appreciate you guys listening to today's interview, the Hall Hotline. And as we like to close, always a reminder to stand firm and walk humbly with the Lord, because that's the Hall way.
Amen.
Thank you for spending time with us today. If this conversation inspired, encouraged, or challenged you, share it with someone who loves Jesus and someone who doesn't yet. If you've enjoyed the show, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review. Remember, stand firm in the truth and answer the phone when God calls.